people on the street want, and as you say, what the rest of the country wants after 2 weeks of demonstrations and much of parts of the country being at a standstill, and what their next move could be to make things happen, as you say.
Yeah, and I don't, it's hard for me to see how a grassroots movement like this, I mean, this is not Eastern Europe. This is not the French Revolution. This is not Moscow in 1917. There is no alternative right now, no alternative opposition that is effective enough, coherent enough, unified enough, powerful enough to challenge the prevailing power of the Egyptian government, the credibility that the military continues to enjoy. And one other thing, this notion that after weeks of this, there will be a sense that Egypt can't function as a state. People will want a return to normalcy, a return to stability, even if it means cutting a deal with the regime. And that's why I believe that somewhere between now and the next several weeks, a political process is going to emerge that will set this transitional period into motion. And I suspect it may emerge with Hosni Mubarak still in place.
Well, as you know, there's many millions out there who don't want that to happen. It'll be very interesting to see how it pans out. Aaron, David Miller, many thanks. Well, in an unprecedented move, Tunisia's parliament has passed emergency powers for the interim president. It comes as the main ruling party, the RCD, was suspended from all political activity. Nazanin Moshiri has this report.
Democracy Tunisian style. Protesters try to stop politicians entering parliament. They're activists and lawyers who suffered under Ben Ali. And now they want this institution dissolved and the old faces of the regime out.
These nominated member of parliament are part of this regime, and we do not like them, and we do not accept them.
And inside Tunisia's parliament, scenes this country could only have dreamt of. Opposition politicians vent their anger at the RCD. The former ruling party was suspended on Sunday, but their members of parliament have retained their seats for now at least. And there were more big changes. An emergency vote was passed which gives extra powers to the interim president. So crucially, an election date can now be decided. Tunisia's Prime Minister told me it's an important step.
We will be able to fulfill our responsibilities, engage in a democratic path, and ensure human rights and fundamental liberties, as well as move our country forward.
What the Prime Minister, Mohamed Ghannouchi, is trying to do is unite Parliament and also the country behind this interim government. He says it's the only way not only to solve the economic situation, but also to bring back security to the streets. There's still frustration here. These protesters blame the police for the deaths of 3 demonstrators in the past few days. Weeks on from the Jasmine Revolution that brought about a dictator's downfall, violence and tension still remain. Nazanin Moshiri, Al Jazeera, Tunis.
Now then, the UN-backed tribunal into the killing of Lebanese Prime Minister Rafik Hariri is hoping a trial into his death could start later this year. It comes as a special hearing has been taking place in the Netherlands. Let's go back to Lauren Taylor in London for the details. Lauren.
Thanks, Nick. Yes, that's right. The special hearing is aimed at clarifying laws that will be applied when trying those responsible for the killing, including what constitutes an act of terrorism. Well, al-Hariri died in a bomb blast in Beirut 6 years ago. From Leidschendam in the Netherlands, Barnaby Phillips reports.
All rise. The Special Tribunal for Lebanon is now in session.
An important moment at the Special Tribunal for Lebanon as it moves from investigation into the courtroom.
Today's proceedings show that Lebanon, a proud founding member of the United Nations, is set on a course for judicial accountability through the rule of law.
It was a massive explosion that killed Rafik Hariri and many others, and Lebanon is still feeling the tremors of that blast. It's widely suspected the tribunal will indict members of Hezbollah, which is not only a powerful political movement, but also a military one. Its leader, Hassan Nasrallah, says the tribunal is a tool of America and Israel. He says Hezbollah will cut off the hand of anyone who tries to arrest its members. The trial itself is probably months away, but people in Lebanon are watching events here. Decisions taken at this court will shake their country's stability to the core. They spent the day in complex discussions on the definitions of terrorism, murder, conspiracy. But are these lawyers and judges really immune to all the political tensions?
They are aware of all these sentiments and the impact of what has happened in those days and what is at stake now. Yet they are professionals who do their job in an impartial, independent way.
But the wheels of justice turn slowly, and all the time tensions in Lebanon are bubbling away. Barnaby Phillips, Al Jazeera, at the UN Tribunal for Lebanon in the Netherlands.
France's foreign minister is facing calls to resign after taking a holiday in Tunisia in late December during the country's uprising. Michelle Alliot-Marie has said she regrets taking the holiday, but she's refusing to stand down from her position. She's also admitted using a Tunisian businessman's private jet several times during her stay there. A controversial Dutch anti-Islam lawmaker has returned to court to resume his trial. Geert Wilders faces charges of inciting hatred, including comparing Islam to Nazism and calling for a ban on the Quran. A second set of judges is now considering how the case should continue, following accusations that the original trial judges were biased against Wilders. A search across Europe is continuing for twin schoolgirls who were kidnapped by their father, who's now known to have died. 6-year-old Alessia and Livia haven't been seen for more than a week. Their father's body was discovered at a railway station on Thursday in Italy. He'd apparently committed suicide. The girls had been living with their mother in Switzerland. Now, in the UK, the issue of law and order has been a contentious topic amongst politicians recently. But here's something that could offer them some hope. When this jeweller's was attacked in the town of Northampton, the staff were terrified as a group of 6 used sledgehammers to try to break into the store. But help was at close hand in the unlikely form, there she is, a grandmother. Running down the road, you can see her in a red coat there. She confronted the gang directly, beating them away with nothing but her handbag. 4 of the 6 have now been arrested, and the 70-plus super grand has been hailed a handbag heroine. And that's it from Europe for this news hour. Now back to Nick in Doha.
Laura, that's just brilliant, isn't it? Excellent. OK, now Cambodia has called for UN peacekeepers to help end a border dispute with Thailand. Thai and Cambodian troops have clashed for a 4th day along a disputed border near a 900-year-old temple. The fighting has forced residents to flee from their rural villages. Wayne Hay has this report.
Living near the Thai-Cambodia border can come at a cost. In recent days, an ongoing land dispute has shattered the peace in this otherwise sleepy Thai settlement. The owner of this house told us she managed to evacuate before a Cambodian artillery shell landed at her back door. This was the scene the night before, dozens of Thai shells streaking across the sky towards Cambodia. Despite the aggression from both sides, the Thai Prime Minister called for a peaceful solution, but said his country will continue to defend itself.
When there is firing into Thai territory, it's necessary for Thailand to protect its sovereignty. We counter the attack and we return fire only at military targets.
However, Cambodian television showed footage of the ancient Preah Vihear temple in the middle of the disputed area, which they allege was damaged by shelling. In Thai territory, the soldiers remain on edge. At checkpoints, supplies are being rushed to the front line. The border villages are now largely deserted. People who have stayed behind say they're ready for more fighting. They've armed themselves and are preparing new bunkers to shelter in. Those who aren't digging in are being catered for in the relative safety of a nearby town.
The residents who have fled the fighting have come here to evacuation centres. In this one alone, there are around 9,000 people. Most of them say they're in no mood to go home anytime soon.
I will continue to stay here until the fighting stops.
Given the tension on the border, these people may be here for some time yet. Wayne Hay, Al Jazeera, Kantaralak, Thailand.
Emergency warnings have been issued for areas of Western Australia as bushfires continue to spread. The blaze has destroyed dozens of homes near the state capital, Perth, and more properties are under threat. February is the last month of summer in Australia. It marks the height of both the monsoon season in the tropical north and the riskiest period for wildfires. A general strike in Bangladesh is paralysing much of the country. Authorities raided the headquarters of the opposition party in the capital Dhaka on Monday. In other parts of the country, police fired